Hey everybody, how are you? Hope you're doing well. So do me a favor before we get started. I need for you to hit this like button. If you are not a subscriber, I need for you to hit the subscribe button and notification bell next to it so that you won't miss the episode. Also, there is a link at the bottom. I need for you to check it out and share it. So today we're going to talk about the housing market and the migrant situation. So, of course, you know on the news there's this mass influx of migrants. However, there's a lot of funding behind it, and I thought this would be interesting to talk about it from the housing market perspective. Real estate, in particular, for real estate investors or people who are interested in getting into real estate. So, the governor has announced a $40 million in grants. $40 million in grants. There are two counties in particular that will be getting $1 million each. This is for shelter, food, and healthcare. So that alone I find to be interesting because that means that there is a lot of money out here. There's a lot of money out here, right? And so I'd be interested in knowing why this money is not being allocated to the people who actually originated in these areas, especially people who are already homeless or who are already in desperate situations that originate from these areas. Instead, $40 million grant money is being allocated to migrants. That means that there is a lot of money out here. So, don't you think that's interesting? The fact that the money is here and it's not being used, it's not being allocated to the people who need it. Don't you find that to be interesting? So, the cities are getting these funds, but it's not just the cities, the suburbs are also receiving these funds to house migrants. So, if you are a landlord or real estate investor of any sort, there are programs out here that will pay you to house migrants. So, what you would do is you would go to the Department of Public Health. This is organized by Catholic Charities, and they are paying $15, $15,000, $15,000 per 6 months. $15,000 per 6 months to house migrants. So that totals to $30,000 a year. So it's kind of similar to the Section 8 program, but it's different from the Section 8 program because this money is for migrants, specifically housing migrants. And this is through the Department of Public Health, organized by Catholic Charities. Again, they are paying $15,000 per 6 months, which totals to $30,000 a year. So if you are using real estate to become financially free, for example, depending on how much you make, you could calculate about how many houses you would need if you were to use a program like this. So, does anyone out there make $30,000 on your job right now? So, for you, that would be one house. The Department of Public Health is paying $30,000 a year to house migrants. Anybody out here making $60,000 a year on their job right now? So for you, that would be two houses to become financially free if you're using this program. Anybody out there making $90,000 a year on your job right now? So for you, that would be three houses to become financially free. Anybody out here making $120,000 a year? So for you, that would be four houses to become financially free. So, do you think that's interesting? So, people are becoming free in all different ways, all different forms, all different fashions. But this is just another source that I thought was interesting because we're hearing every day about this influx of migrants and they are funding this. They're funding this. The governor has announced $40 million in grants, and they are paying you to house migrants. So my question would be is would you do something like this as a real estate investor? Would you do something like this? Would you house migrants? And if so, what issues or concerns do you think you might face with that? So the migrants are not the ones paying you. There's a whole program behind this. So this is guaranteed pay. So this whole credit check, checking to see if they have a job, um, all of that is null and void because the money is not coming from the migrants themselves. It's coming from the actual program. So normally for your tenants, you would do some form of background check. In a normal situation, you would be looking for things like evictions. You would be looking for things to see their past history of payments, credit score, see if they have employment. So all of that is null and void because they're not paying you. The program is paying you. As far as the property, keeping your property up, how would you determine that? How would you determine the character of your tenants if you were to go with this program? What do you think? Any thoughts? And then some of my questions would be, what do you think is behind this mass migration? Besides the fact that they're coming here for economic opportunity, that's understandable. Maybe getting away from things like the cartel, things like that, getting to a safer place, that's understandable. But on this side of it, the opposite side of it, what do you think the plan is? What do you think the agenda is? There's always agenda for everything. So we can see their agenda, economic opportunity, getting to safety. What is the agenda on the opposite side of this? Do any of you watch Redacted by any of you watch Redacted? They talk about a lot of things that mainstream media will not touch. Do any of you guys watch Redacted? Okay, so that's what's going on in the housing market. And I think it's interesting because it is another way to fund your whole real estate. Like there's a whole bunch of different types of real estate that you can get into. You know about Airbnb, midterm rentals, long-term holds, all the different kinds of real estates. Um, you know about the insurance companies that will do funding. And then here's another program. specifically for migrants. So what do you think about that? Would you do it? All right, so I just thought it was interesting. So if you have any comments, go ahead and leave them at the bottom. Also, before you leave, don't forget hit this like button. If you're not a subscriber, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and notification bell next to it so that you won't miss an episode. Also, the link below, share it. Hit the like button on your way out. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.